listening to another episode of Find the Good News Live, a live streaming podcast about good people doing good works. Find the Good News Live is produced by Parker Brand Creative Services, a creative studio that thinks sideways, pushes forward, and gets your brand up. See our creative projects at parkerbrandup.com.
Well, welcome to another episode of Find the Good News Live. My name is Oran Parker. If you listen to Find the Good News, the podcast, then you know who I am. But for those that don't, I'm the creative director and owner of Parker Brand Creative Services here in Sulphur, Louisiana. And we created this live show so we could give some of our past podcast guests who we call Good Newsies an opportunity to come back and see what it's like on the other side of the microphone, and also talk a little bit about themselves and let you know what's going on. Graciously, today, I'm sitting right next to Thom Trahan, one of my good friends, actually one of my dear friends.
Oh, okay.
I know, getting tender with Thom for a second.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, hold on, hold me back. Dad, you got to hold me back, because, man, I love Thom. I love Thom Trahan. I love everything about the guy, and I especially love what he's doing with his incredible board of directors and Kat Godsey over at the Henning Cultural Center and Brimstone Museum right here in Sulphur, Louisiana, where we are recording right now. So what's going on, buddy?
Well, not a whole lot. We have a whole bunch of things coming up at the museum. We have a really good exhibit on display right now. It's called For the Love of Blank.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've asked a lot of, in quotation marks, celebrity artists to produce artwork that these are not artists in any other way other than they just love a project, and they have created this piece of work to sell, to support the charity or nonprofit that they are passionate about. So we have about 20 pieces in the show. It's silent auction format and quite a few bids already. So that's
awesome.
Yeah, that show comes down on the 10th of October, so it's a good idea to get by and take a look at it before it ends, so you can put your money where
I love that. I mean, y'all always are doing something different. And, if anybody listens to the podcast, they know that before we do the big fishbowl thing, y'all have an ad in there, but it's really not just an ad. It's really, honestly, my true to life personal testimony. You probably can attest for this, that ever since I started the show, I've probably been to your museum more than I had in the years before.
You're right. Yeah.
I mean, that's a true commitment. I said, I need to start doing the very thing that I encourage other people to do, and I've got a lot out of it. I mean, y'all make great events. You had your 80s closeout for the last show.
Right. I think we had either between 250 and 300 visitors for that event. Yeah. Which was huge for a reception for traffic.
Oh, it was incredible. I had so much fun that night. Honestly, I don't get out and do a lot of that kind of stuff, fun socializing, but that event stood out to me because it was just completely 100% healthy and wholesome. I smiled the whole night. My kids had fun, and I left just feeling good, man. And then the art alone was just awesome in that room. I don't know I just think people really need to look at what y'all are doing hardcore and make that trip across the bridge if you're in Lake Charles listening to this. It's easier to get to Sulphur than to get back to Lake Charles.
Right.
Make an afternoon of it. Come over here and look at some art. Find a good meal. There's plenty of that around here.
That's right. Yeah, and keep an eye on our Facebook pages. Kat has been really good about putting all of our stuff out there. I'm not great with social media. I know how to use it. I'm not consistent. And she's been very good about keeping people informed about what we're doing and stuff at the museum.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to tell you privately, this is just spilling the beans. You're like my best social media friend.
Oh,
for real.
Awesome,
I actually told somebody that yesterday. I said, you know what I like about social media now is because I can go on social media and message Thom, and we can have like a nice little friendly conversation, and we can just get right out. And either one of us can say, hey, I'm busy, I got to go. And we just get it because we're both.
Oh, yeah, totally.
It's fun. I enjoy that.
Just kind of fly in for a second and make a few words and then fly out.
Yeah, it makes me smile. And sometimes it's a nice mental break. I need to have a hiccup in my day, and you're the best hiccup I could have.
Oh, that's
Thom.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So today, speaking of that 80s thing, we're actually going to be talking to Patrick Shawn Bennett of the Lake Charles Film Festival. That's this weekend, right?
That's right.
Yeah. They're going to tell us all about that. We'll save the details for them. But Patrick was at the 80s, at the 80s party. And, I was just talking to him this morning, and I said, I looked right at you and didn't even recognize you. I thought your beard was a part of the disguise. And then when I actually saw your face, I was like, oh, so that's the guy I'm going to have on the show. So I felt a little awkward that I didn't introduce myself and say hi. But now I know it's his real face and those whiskers are real. But anyway, yeah, it's this event's free to the public, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
it's what, tomorrow and Saturday?
It's going to be Friday night and Saturday all day, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to try to get out there. I may not be able to get to the whole thing, but I'm going to make a point to get out there with the kids. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, I don't think people turned in to listen to you and I banter. Let's just get right into it.
Wake up, it's morning. You're dreaming up a story I can hear the way it's going, 'cause you're laughing in your sleep on the path to your deliverance, and a holy wall of light pouring through your window.
Old news, bad news, fake news. Sometimes you want to shut those signals down and seek out good news right here at home. With Find the Good News Live, I put my focus directly on good people doing good works right here in our area. I visit with artists, educators, civic and spiritual leaders, musicians, business owners, students, volunteers, and citizens just like you and I who are applying their time, resources, and talents to bring joy, hope, and happiness to our region. I discover what shapes them, what inspires them, and what drives them to do the good work that they are doing. There's a lot of news in the world, but I'm going live in our communities where people are working to make life better. My name is Oran Parker, and this is Find the Good News Live.
And I love you just as well.
Well, we're here with Patrick Shawn Bennett. I'm looking at the guy. He's got a Shazam shirt on.
Shazam.
So what's that all about?
Well, it ties into this weekend. We have the two guests from the 1974 TV series Shazam will be with us at the Lake Charles Film Festival. So everybody needs to come out and meet them.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, man. You and I were chatting about that. I remember that show when I was a kid. I had I wouldn't say fond memories. They were vague because I guess, what year did that show air? What was the time?
It was
frame?
74. It lasted 3 years.
Okay, I was little then. I was born in 74. So I have these visuals, but I can't recall a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot different from your comic book Shazam and your current movie. A lot different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was still the same premise, though. I can remember that kid yelling Shazam and
Right,
the
right.
effect, that it did back then where he would
but,
switch over.
Yeah, but he wasn't a MC. He wasn't a disc jockey. He rode around in a Winnebago with some old man and called him. He was his mentor, but he called him mentor. And they just rode around. There was no super villains.
Yeah.
It was always we got to rescue a cat in a tree.
Solve a problem.
Yeah. Somebody's lying to their parents. Let's go straighten them out.
Let's say Shazam and this infinitely power superhero is going to
But once Billy went out there and would look around, make sure nobody was looking, and he'd holler Shazam.
Yeah.
Turn to Captain Marvel. Then it got really cool. You see him flying around and stuff.
That's kind of cool, man.
Yeah.
That's like the other superhero movie I remember from a kid was Greatest American Hero.
Oh yeah,
man.
William Cat. We had William Cat with us a few years back.
Really?
At the festival, yeah.
Man, I feel bad because I really haven't got to go yet. I feel like I've suffered
Shame on you.
shame on me for real. I mean, it's right in the wheelhouse of my interest. I'm sitting here. I got to acknowledge the voice you haven't heard yet is Braylin Jenkins. So Braylin's connected to the event.
Oh yeah.
As an MC, right? And you've done that before.
Yes, apparently.
Yes, we were talking about Braylin's selective memory. He couldn't remember it. Someone's erased his mind.
We're talking about William Cat. You don't remember interviewing William Cat?
See, my problem is we've interviewed so many people over the years, and I've covered the event, and it's a lot. There's so much going on, so many people, and so it just kind of after it's been how many years?
That was in 2012.
So from there,
Wow.
literally, it's just kind of like festival.
Yeah. So have y'all had it at the Brimstone Museum before?
Yeah, this is the third year I think we've done it
Third
here.
year.
Okay. What does it look like? I mean, what's the structure of the event? I mean, how does it lay out?
We have 3 screening rooms?
Correct. Yeah,
there's different films playing in each room. You just gotta kind of look at the schedule and pick and choose what you want to see.
Okay.
And then we also have some panels.
Right.
Like the 2 Shazam actors will actually be in a Q&A type
That's
panel.
so cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually excited about that. It'll bring back a lot of memories. It makes me want to go watch them. Y'all gonna actually play those shows, the Shazam
No, we
shows?
won't play the
Okay.
shows, but we'll get to talk to the actors about their favorite episodes, stuff like that.
Yeah, man, I love hearing stories like that, especially if you're gonna have a panel. We were talking about that before we went live. I love hearing actors' stories, how they got the role, what their apprehensions were, what their, anticipation was in it, how they prepared for it. And I would love to hear that because you're getting back to when I first entered this world. So,
I want to say it's not just about entertainment and nostalgia.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people don't even remember the show.
Yeah.
Or, it came out in the 70s. So a lot of young people will be there that they have no idea who these guys are.
Yeah.
But it's a learning experience. If you're an aspiring actor,
yeah,
I mean, you can come get tips on working with agents, how to go to auditions, how to launch your career in acting. You can ask them anything you want.
So are these mostly indie films that we're going to be seeing?
Yeah, all of them are indie
All
films.
are indie? Okay.
Yeah.
I saw that you had mentioned that you're going to be able to meet some of the creators, too.
A lot of these filmmakers do attend. Sometimes they bring a cast and crew with them.
That's cool, man.
And what we do is we'll show a film, and if the filmmakers are there, they can stand up and do a little short Q&A between each film.
I like that. Yeah. I'm actually excited about that. We do some video production, mostly commercial, through our creative agency, but it still has some of the same elements apply. You got to have the right eye and the storyboard and find the right people, and all the logistics are the same. Pretty interesting. So what's your background in this? How do you get from there to here, so to speak?
I'm just a huge film buff all my life.
Really?
And I moved to Dallas from Lake Charles in 2000.
Okay.
And I went to my first film festival. It was called the Deep Ellum Film Festival. And I was hooked, man. And
yeah.
I started going to film festivals all over the country then. And then when I moved back here in 2008, I was thinking, I ought to do this here.
Yeah.
So I did. And, that's where it just got started.
Yeah, I love that, man. That's what drives so many things in our area, and really, I guess, everywhere. But you see that a lot here where people who travel and take their personal interests and share it with other people. Find the Good News that's a big part of this show is why do something instead of nothing, because there's a lot of people who love films and go to film festivals, but they don't share it further than their own, what they get out of it, so to speak.
Right.
But you're taking that, what you got out of it, and something that gave you some joy and chose to give it back. So why do that?
A lot of reasons. I'm also a filmmaker.
Yeah.
So I want to, meet other filmmakers in the area, not just the area, but, we bring them in. They come in from, we had somebody from Canada last year that flew in, from LA, just
Las
all
Vegas
over.
one year.
Yeah.
Really?
They come from all over to the festival, and you get to meet them and share your experiences. And like I said about filmmaking, there's a lot of filmmakers here in the Lake area. A lot of people might not know about them.
Really?
But these are all movies that, like this year in Louisiana, we've had 19 film submissions from Louisiana alone.
Really?
That's our largest number of local films. So we'll be showing those. And these are films you can't see in a movie theater.
Right.
You have to go to like a festival to be able to see them.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
You could really make a day and a night out of that if you're really into films. Is it going to be a large spectrum? I mean, what are the different types of...
Oh, we have all genres.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, you'll see comedy, action, horror,
Oh, good.
fantasy.
Yeah.
We got a couple of superhero shorts. Just anything goes.
God, what a missed opportunity, man. Unless they've contacted you. That would have been cool to have those Horror and Hops podcast guys watch one of these indie films as their show. You know what I mean? Like do something off the beaten path, not just mainstream and like cross promote. That'd been kind of cool.
Hey, let me mention a couple of films where we'll be screening.
Yeah, please.
One is called Appleseed.
Okay.
And, Rance Howard, that was Ron Howard's dad.
Yeah.
He passed away here just a couple of years ago, maybe. This is his final film.
Oh, wow.
And it's just coming out. It's an indie film. It hasn't been released yet.
Okay.
But we'll be showing it. And it actually has Ron's brother, Clint, is also in it.
That's cool, man.
And it's a feature-length film,
yeah.
And then another one that we're showing is called 2050. It's a sci-fi film, and it stars Dean Cain.
Oh, really?
From Lois and
Clark. Yeah.
Superman there. But that's two feature films we'll have. And then we have a lot of documentaries, like feature-length. And I want to mention a lady, Kimberly Roberts. She's from New Orleans, 9th Ward.
Yeah.
And she was there for Katrina. And she's made this film called Fear No Gumbo.
Okay.
And it's a documentary about what the people of the 9th Ward went through with this storm.
Really?
And she's out there with her cell phone. She stayed. She didn't evacuate. She's filming the flood, and they're trying to get to their roof, and just everything going on.
That actually sounds awesome.
And then she
man.
went back afterwards and did interviews and stuff. But it's the story of the Ninth Ward residents, what they went through during and then after. It's like afterwards, they took a lot from people like coming in trying to capitalize, like outsiders off the Ninth Ward. And you can see in this film, you can see her passion for her residents, her fellow residents, and also her pain and anger. It's a really good film, and she'll be there. She's coming from New Orleans, but one of her previous documentaries was nominated for an Academy Award.
Really?
She actually got to go to the Oscars and attend and go to the parties and all that. Now her film didn't win the Oscar that year, but how many people can say they've been nominated for an Academy Award? It's really special.
Yeah, it really is.
So, I mean, you could come talk to her this weekend about her experiences,
Man, that's actually really awesome. And, just to think that that's right here. I mean, for me, it's just a few minutes down the road. Not even a few minutes. I mean, that's pretty incredible. I've never been to a film festival, and so I can only imagine how much fun that is. I mean, it's probably, I bet you can get the bug pretty easy once you've attended something like that.
Yeah.
So the first year that it was at the museum was actually my first year to see a film festival, and honestly, it was a little bit jarring because I sat through the whole day, and I mean, they go from, like you say, there was every genre. It goes from horror directly into the next one is a romance or something, and you're expecting, in this romance movie, you're expecting the same outcome from the last movie. It can be a little bit off-putting, but it's a lot of fun, and yeah, if you're somebody who likes to just sit and watch, films or whatever, I mean, you could do it at your house, or you can do it here and, amongst other people and talk about the films and meet the people who actually made the thing that you're watching, which is really, it's a cool experience.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about that. I think, that my children will enjoy it too, honestly, because we're big movie buffs. I mean, my dad, if you listen to the live shows before, my dad owned a video store here in Sulphur when I was a kid growing up. So, like, from my 5th grade year all the way till I graduated and beyond, well into college, Bo's Videos was such a staple here in Sulphur. And so growing up, I worked in those stores till, I went off to college. And so, you're around movies all the time.
Is that the one the logo looked like Top Gun?
Top Gun.
Yeah, I remember those.
That's right, Top Gun. Oh, Dad loved movies, man. And so when I meet people who don't know anything about movies, I sometimes have to remind myself that they didn't grow up in a video store. And because you reference them so often, and it was such a big part of your world, it's it becomes pop culture dialogue. Oh yeah, this guy's got Patrick's holding up his Blockbuster membership card. My dad would have flipped out and said, "Give me that card." Because Dad, that's so funny. Back in those days, this is pre-digital age. I mean, there were no computers and internet during that time period, so there were all these programs where it's like, let us cut up your membership card to whatever video, and we'll give you 10 free rentals, and if you switch memberships, it was like membership wars. I don't even know if you guys knew that would happen, but it was back in the punch card days, So it wasn't a scan or like anything like that where you gain points when you shop. It was just like, give me your punch card, and we'd have all these little star shapes and moon shapes. It was just a different time, man. You could almost, for me, that time with all those films, I watched more. I think my tastes were more broad. And because of the exposure to so many movies, you could blow through the stuff that was popular really quickly, but then because you had access to it, was free for me, and so then there's all these other movies that are out there filling this whole space, and as you're cleaning the shelves, you're going, well, that kind of looks cool, and you learn to go, don't trust the box, or that kind of stuff, and you get smarter and smarter about the way you digest this. Have you had that experience being around film?
Man, I miss VHS.
Oh yeah, I'm with you.
And I like going to the video stores where you could read the back of the boxes and just kind of shop.
Yeah,
find some obscure movie that you never heard about. But I also like VHS would have the creases in it, and you watch it, and it's got all the lines.
Yeah,
it's just.
The tracking.
Something about watching that at midnight,
there's some
movie.
charm, yeah.
I agree. We were having that conversation the other day. I wonder what you think about this. We were talking about, I love old cassettes and old radios and things like that, and it's not always because I think they were the best technology. Granted, my phone's going to play the cleanest track compared to my cassette tape over there. But what on meditating for a little bit, I said, I don't think it's the sound quality. Whenever I was at the age, these happy times where you're engaging with that tech, yes, I'm watching a VHS to watch Back to the Future, and I'm watching Back to the Future, but what's happening is I'm getting this good feeling is that my brain's also picking up on the way the plastic felt in my fingers, the sound of the lid flipping, the sound of the rewinder. And you're not conscious of that. You're not consciously going, let me absorb these sounds, but your mind is attaching like a magnet, like filaments to that experience. And so then when you get older, like I'm doing now, in the mornings, I told them when I get here, I'll come in and put a cassette in and I'll play it. It's not because I think it sounds great. It's that touch point of feeling those things and those other sounds that I wasn't aware were giving me attached to that joy. Would you say that's accurate for you too?
Yeah.
Like almost a sensory nostalgia or something, as opposed to like the content. You're talking about the atmosphere, the smell. Like the smell of your grandma's kitchen or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that kind of idea.
Brings you back.
Right.
Right.
You can eat an apple pie today, but it's not the same as the going into that kitchen and you're absorbing all the atmosphere around you.
It's right. Exactly right. It's just neat to do, and I think that I guess I was having a conversation online with somebody about that. They were talking about the trends. Oh, now it's tapes and it was records and it's all this stuff. And I said, well, I think there's more to it than just a trend. There may be a trend, and that trend might move through, but there's going to be those people that actually had real experiences with the tracking on the VHS tapes, where when you see that you're like, it's actually comforting. Just the tracking is comforting to some degree. You have that kind of experience.
Oh, yeah. You know what I love was the on a record player when you rub your finger on the needle, that sound. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, they talk about that. I was listening to a talk show and they were talking about sounds that have disappeared from the world, and I was like, and they had a whole list, and I was like, wow, if you don't stop and think about it, there's these sounds that have disappeared. And one was the sound of a typewriter. And I was like, yeah, you don't hear that. And some people, when they hear it, they probably couldn't tell you what it is. And then the other one was a rotary dial on a phone. That's a specific sound that there's just generations of people that will go, if you played it for them, they'd be like, I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, like at one point I had so I always have offbeat ringtones and text sounds and all that. And at one point, I had a dial-up modem sound on my phone for when I got an email or something. And there was somebody that asked me, well, what is that supposed to be? Was that static noise or whatever? And it's like, I never thought I'd encounter somebody that didn't know that sound, because that was such a big thing for me growing up. I mean, I was always on the internet, and that's how we got to it was, you dial up AOL or whatever.
Oh, for sure. Or you're on the phone. And, it's like, I can't talk right now because they're on the internet, or vice versa. And it's just a whole conversation. Lots of fighting in houses is like, I'm on the phone, that kind of stuff.
My email.
I do remember my first experience with the internet. It was a guy that I worked at a video store, and he lived into a trailer next door to it, and he would rent movies there. So we become friends. It was a typical Clerks scenario. And he would come over and tell me these just crazy stories about, like that's where I learned about the chupacabra for the first time. He was like, you never heard of the chupacabra? I was like, you don't even know what you're talking about. He was like, oh, I went on this guy's website, and I was like, what's a website? And he was like, the internet. I was like, dude, you're talking, you're saying words I don't understand.
Different language.
He's like, when you get off, come over to my trailer, man. I'll show you all this stuff. And so I get to his house, and the dial-up modem sound, and it was so slow. But back then, I was amazed because I can remember sitting at his computer, like waiting for an image to load, just staring at it, like, what is happening right now? So where is this coming from?
Yeah.
The beginning of that big change, man. I mean, now you can just get a movie anywhere, instantly. It almost seems, when I watch people standing at Redbox, sometimes I'll do that. I'll sit in my truck and I'll go, ugh. What a dead experience to stand.
Yeah, not the same as I worked at a Blockbuster Video when I was in college, and or actually two of them. I worked here in Sulphur, and then I worked up in Alexandria for a little while when I was at school. But let's see, the feeling of walking in, smelling the popcorn that had been made, or actually it was usually burnt popcorn and coffee. But and then the tapes, they had a smell too, and then we were there for the transition into DVD at the time.
DVD, yeah.
So, there was some switch over with that. But like you were saying about finding the obscure titles or whatever, you can't really do that on Redbox. It's just, you're going to consume what they've provided for you. And that's all you can really get unless you go online and get, something on Amazon or whatever.
For sure. I mean, I think that's how I found out what genres I really enjoyed and which ones I didn't, was by just watching a ton of movies, man. I mean, speaking of genres, do you have a favorite?
I kind of like the action adventure drama.
Yeah, like we'll give an example.
Well, my favorite film of all time, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
There you go. Yeah.
So anytime someone's on a quest, or I like jungle adventures, or just searching for something, just cool stuff.
Do you ever like any of the knockoff type stuff, like Alan Quatermain?
Oh yes,
and, yeah. Like Romancing the Stone. I thought that was pretty good too. That was I listened to cool. I have one of these old Back to the Future DVDs, and I guess I forgot that they would do this on these DVDs where you would play the movie and then the director would talk the whole time.
Right.
I mean, I guess that's common, but I forgot that people do that. And so I was actually playing it one night when I was up here. I was like, who is talking? And I came up here and I was like, oh, and I totally zonked out, man. I sat right there where Braylin's at and I was like, wow, dude, I didn't know any of this stuff, but they were talking about Romancing the Stone and how nobody wanted Back to the Future, man. Like they just could not get it made, and so they kind of gave up because they didn't have a hit. They had a bunch of stinkers, and he goes and does Romancing the Stone, and it's a hit. And then all of a sudden, everybody was like, "Hey, where's that Back to the Future screenplay that you guys wrote?" So it was kind of cool how he nobody was giving him a chance, Yeah. And I thought that was kind of neat how many failures there are before one thing happens and everything just all of a sudden starts tumbling in place. I wonder how many of these films at this film festival will be that way, where people haven't been exposed and they go, whoa, this is going to blow up.
I don't know, but I hope it inspires people to go out and make films, because with the technology now, like we're talking about, it's easy. I mean, Braden's got his phone sitting right there. He could be filming a movie right now.
Yeah.
There's programs you can edit on your phone, upload
Right.
it to YouTube. YouTube, you have your own TV station.
Yeah, man.
True.
Your own channel.
Well, you're right. Somebody actually messaged me the other day and said, hey, how much would it cost to make a video for XYZ business like the one you made for Brimstone? And I was like, what video did I make for the Brimstone? They were talking about the 80s thing. And I was like, oh, that 80s video. And I was like, and I hate to say it, but honestly, I made that on my phone. I edited on my phone. I just threw the titles in on my phone. I really didn't, I just walked around with a smooth cam thing and that was it. And then, but to somebody else, they were like, hey, that's cool. I can't do it. Can you do it? And I said, well, I actually can't really charge for that. But
$3,000.
That's right.
yeah, I was like, you
Right.
could, but my impulse is like what you said. I go, oh, you could. I want to go, oh, you can do it too. Give me 30 minutes and I can download this on your phone. You can go tell stories too.
Show you how to do it.
Yeah, that sounds like what you're encouraging is for people to use what you have, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's something in filming. Like I told you, we do a lot of commercial work that I think about a lot. I get in conversations about gear, and I get very burned out really quickly because there's like the gearheads, And no, you might be a gearhead.
Oh, no.
I'm not either. Where it's like, oh, this new gizmo, or do you have the newest camera? And I told a friend of mine in New York who he was messaging me and saying, hey, man, I got a budget. I need a little something I can take pictures with and maybe do some video with. And I said, dude, honestly, I'm gonna tell you what camera I use a lot because it's lightweight. And it's just good for the stuff I've shot with that I have preferred 9 times out of 10, and most of the people are watching it on the computer. It's the old T2i I have, just a Canon Rebel T2i, right. One of the first ones. And I said, man, it has a grain to it sometimes because the sensor's not the best, And I get back to editing and I go, man, I actually kind of, with good glass on it, that camera for me, I can put it in a bag. And I just come back, it has a look that I like. It's the closest for me. It gives it I don't have to do any kind of grading to give it like a film look, And I just find that people overcomplicate it by going nuts with gear sometimes. Right. Yeah. What's your go-to? Do you have like a go-to like kit that you go, man, I prefer shooting?
Yeah, I'm like you. I've got a Canon Rebel. I think it's the 5 model.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I shot some stuff with Thom last month at the Brimstone. We did a little 80s video.
Yeah.
In a set that he built.
Yeah, that's going to be a good project when it's completed.
Yeah.
You shot in that diorama?
Right.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's cool. Is it a little story like a film? Is that
it's going to be a reenactment for a documentary I'm working on.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Flashback to the 80s type thing.
Yeah. Well, that was a great place to do it. That little room had so much stuff in there.
Yeah, we had, I think, four 4 total photo shoots in there.
Yeah.
And video shoots, which was, I thought that was kind of crazy. We built a thing and people liked it. So
well, it was like a little
Can't beat
set.
that. Yeah.
You know? Yeah. If you can write it, that gets into really, I guess, what you're probably going to experience, huh? With these indie films is that you're, at least what I experience when an indie film goes big and you're like, wow, this is really something special. There's a passion in there that maybe sometimes isn't there with your big mainstream titles. Is that something that people could probably?
Oh yeah, these indie films, you don't have studios breathing over your shoulder and guiding your film and, you know, telling you, no, you can't do this, or this sponsor paid us, you know, $2 million. You got to do what he wants. You got to put his nephew in your film. You don't have all that. You do what you want.
Yeah.
So it's more a piece of you than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody should be making films because everybody has a story to tell.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
That's true.
You know, and now, like we were talking about, anybody can make a film. And if you want to make a better film, you know, with better equipment and get it, you know, on Netflix or something like that, of course you have to have better gear. But this festival, there'll be people there that can guide you through that.
That's cool.
Like if you've been thinking about it, come to this festival. We actually have a panel. We're bringing in Louisiana Entertainment. That's a division of the Louisiana Economic Development. It's our government.
Okay.
They're going to be sitting in on a panel telling what the state can do to help you make your film.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. And also with that, we have the local Lake Charles / Southwest Louisiana Film Commission.
Okay.
Somebody from that's going to be there. They can tell you how they can help you if you're looking for locations to shoot on.
Right.
Whatever, what they can do for if you need a street blocked off.
Right.
Okay, and then this is exciting. There's a new channel coming in Louisiana called the Louisiana Film Channel out of Baton Rouge, and they're launching next year. They're going to be here this year, and they're soliciting films to show on their channel. And it's got to be a Louisiana-made film, and they're going to be here to audition to interview.
Oh, wow.
Louisiana filmmakers that are attending the festival. They'll be watching some of their films. They'll have a table set up where you can register your film to play on their channel.
Yeah.
They're going to shoot some B-roll, some content and stuff for their channel, some interviews and stuff. But the best thing, these filmmakers will get paid.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So,
See, that's what I was sitting here listening to you. I was going, I mean, when we went back there to get coffee, that whole room of mine is full of gear. And this, and I always tell my wife this. I said, "Man, we could make anything we want, but it's pointed at commercial work all the time. But there's that bug in you that you can't help but daydream about, where you're like, man, I really would like to do something. Go into something like this is could tilt the scales for a lot of people who are having those same thoughts. They're going, man, I'm kind of doing this, but I'm not really over the edge. But I'm really dreaming about this thing. They could go here and really probably get that."
Oh, yeah.
Get the resources.
Or if you say you wrote a script and you have no idea how to make it into a film.
Yeah.
Come to the festival. We're going to have mixers also. Like we'll be at Rick and Jack's and
cool. All over Southwest Louisiana then.
McFarland's Pub. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can visit with actors, directors. Like say you wrote a script, but you have no idea what to do. Man, you might meet a director at this festival that says, "Hey, let me see your script."
Oh, wow. Okay.
You get in contact. It's a great network.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's really cool. There's so many dimensions to it beyond just showing up like me, a consumer just going to watch the films. That's just one level, one layer to it. I didn't realize all that.
Well, and talk about the 48-hour sprint, the film sprint, because that's a good way to get involved quickly.
Right. If you're out there and you want to learn filmmaking, or you just want to participate, but you have no idea what you're doing or anything, or if you do know what you're doing, but you just want something fun to do.
Right.
Every year we have a 48-hour film sprint.
Okay.
And what that is, it's free to participate, and you can participate from anywhere in the world because we do it online.
Oh, okay.
So you don't have to show up and turn your film in to us. You can just upload it to YouTube, send us a link. But what it is, say at Friday at 7 p.m., you check our website and we give you 3 things that has to be in your film.
Oh, cool.
And we give you a prop, a line of dialogue, and a character.
Neat, man.
And then you take off. You got 48 hours to make a complete film between 3 and 10 minutes long.
Okay.
And it has to contain those 3 elements.
Cool.
It can be any genre. It's interesting to see how each director uses those 3 elements in his film.
That sounds fun, man.
Because somebody might turn in a horror film, action, a romance, but it has those 3 elements in it. And this year we used The character has to be named Mr. Big.
Okay.
The prop is a cigar. And the line of dialogue is, "It belongs in a museum."
Nice. So that, man, boy, that's interesting. So
and we had 7 teams participate, and we'll be showing all 7 of those films this weekend.
Oh, really?
And
oh,
they're
that's
all,
cool.
all from Louisiana.
Okay, not just from Southwest
four
Louisiana.
from Lake Charles. We had one from DeRidder, one from Slidell, and the other one was from around New Orleans.
That actually sounds
awesome.
like a lot of fun to do, man.
Oh, it is.
So, do these people? Are there people that would come back and do it like the same ones year after year?
Yeah. We usually have a few Texas entries.
Yeah.
But this year, like last week they got hit by that hurricane.
Right.
The storm.
They got some water.
A lot of flooding.
Water.
So yeah, that we didn't have those back this year, but they really wanted to. In fact, some of them emailed me, saying we can't do it. We're gonna miss it and stuff. But it's a lot of fun. It's
been a while for me. I've talked to you before. I love the appreciation of everything.
Yeah.
And so to watch these guys and gals who love film, my thing has been joining them whenever they do the film sprint.
Yeah.
And so I'm more of it was just a weird role for me. Continuity.
Yeah.
Is so important. And so to sit in on a film and like just assist them.
Yeah.
That's what I love to do.
Yeah.
But to watch the whole film come to life and kind of help in that way. It's a little something for everybody. So even if you think, I'm really not a big film person, being able to be on the set, if you will, and watch how it comes together or throwing in your ideas, it's really cool to watch it all come to life as a team. So
that's cool, man.
You should definitely consider entering one year.
I would like to be I would like to, it sounds crazy. The word I keep thinking is like a ride along, because it's really cool what you're talking about. I was thinking about this. I was actually talking to a guy yesterday, was asking me about what we do, and I said, well, I was kind of got into the video category, and he said, so what's your background with video? I said, well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I said, it's mostly has been exposure to working with other people in video, and then having a high level of interest, and then figuring crap out. I said, for me, I come at it from comic books. When I was a kid, I loved comics. I loved to draw, and I drew. I thought I was going to be, I did. When I was a kid, I thought I was going to be a comic book artist. And so what that's translated into is sequential storytelling. So when I'm doing things now, I go, well, this is that scene, and this is where the camera's going to be. And it's been a big help to have that little skill as somebody that's going out to shoot things, because then I can go, well, I kind of know where these shots and these people are going to be because I've kind of drawn them out. And I told him, I said, if you're interested in that kind of thing, I said, just look at the skill set you have and see what you have that can be possibly tweaked and applied to film. And you might have that bug in you. You don't even know. There might be people out there that have the right set of skills. They just don't even know it. And they go to something like this and they get that motivation they need.
Let me mention something else that you just reminded me. To go beyond the film festival, if you're interested in filmmaking or screenwriting, we have an organization called the Lake Area Film Group.
Okay.
And we meet the 4th Thursday of every month at Rick and Jack's at 7:00.
Okay.
And it's a group of like-minded filmmakers.
Well, that's cool.
Directors, actors, all that. And we have equipment. People have equipment. If you want to make a film, there's no reason why, and you live in the Lake Area.
Yeah.
No reason why you can't get it made. You have
people have stuff.
Yeah, somebody will loan you a camera. Somebody, they might even come run it for you.
Yeah.
You have people that will loan you microphones and lights and everything.
See, that's
and
awesome.
You'll find
man.
actors. If you have a script and you need 10 actors, we can find them for you.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why you can't make it. And you say you have no budget. You don't need it. Everybody's going to donate their time and their equipment, and they're going to help you make it.
Yeah, man.
You might want to feed them some pizza or something. But, that's the important part.
Look, you're right, man. That's the truth. I guess it's great to have a collective like that. I love that attitude too of helping each other versus being in competition with each other. And there's certain creative industries where you find there's a moment in time, I guess, where you see people working together. And I like that. It's what it sounds like. It sounds like, hey, well, let me help you. I want to be a part of it and assist. And if I have a lens,
right.
I was talking to somebody one time. We were out shooting a commercial, and this guy was helping us. He's like, I just want to come. I know how to do X, Y, Z with the cameras. I was like, okay, cool. He just wanted to go. We opened up the case with the glass in it, and he went, dude, can I borrow some of these sometimes? Because he was going, I would have to go rent these pieces, and it never even occurred to me, what would it be like to be with people and you can go, oh, well, I need this certain lens. I would love to have that for this shot. And then to be around people to go, oh, well, I have that. Awesome. I don't have to buy it. I don't have to add it to my kit. I can use it for this scene or these certain shots. help each other out. I love that.
You can find that group on Facebook. Just search for Lake Area Film Group. There's also the Lake Area Writers Group. Ken Henderson, I think he lives in Moss Bluff. He's a professional writer. He's been doing it for several years, probably over a decade. He actually has some scripts that are being shopped around Hollywood right now.
Oh, wow.
And, he sold stuff in the past, but he started this writing group. So as a professional screenwriter, you can come to him with no experience, and he'll help you learn the craft of writing screenplays. And he'll also help you with your story. Like, he'll read your script, give you critiques. He'll kind of mentor you to write a good screenplay.
I love that, man.
So that's another group here in town.
You're just touching on so many things that this show's supposed to be about in everything you're saying. You know, Tom's a big fan of Mr. Rogers, and that's one of the stories Mr. Rogers tells about his mom saying that to him, look for the helpers. And I think sometimes it's easy to forget when you look around the world. You think maybe nobody wants to help each other out, but you sit down and have, a 40-minute conversation with someone like you, and we're talking about movies, but you're revealing that people are out there that want to help in whatever category you're in. I really like that a lot.
I've known Braylin for probably, about 10 years maybe?
Wow.
And we've worked on projects together, but his memory, he probably won't remember. We did, remember the Bayou Rum?
Yeah, I do.
We actually were going to enter a contest, but then for some reason we didn't qualify. Is that what it was?
Something happened.
But we had already shot some footage. This was before Bayou Rum launched.
Yeah.
We went to their facility and shot a bunch of B-roll and did some interviews with the owner. And then we actually went to the casino for the inaugural toast.
Oh, I remember that.
They
I saw
brought
pictures
in
from it.
from the Duck Dynasty guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Troy. I forgot his name.
I don't remember. Yeah, the shoot 'em
yeah.
guy.
And that's what he did. He held up the glass with the rum. Shoot 'em.
Wait, did you film that?
Yeah.
Okay, I watched that. It was a little documentary about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it was your okay. Yeah, y'all worked on that together.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm more of a my expertise, if you call it that, scouting, and I've helped a lot of different people find locations to film at.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely love scouting.
Yeah, that is a big part of it. I mean, even in commercial work, I mean, it's like, where are we going to shoot this at? And you have ideas, your dream spot, but that dream spot for me, I always go, well, we're going to have the dream might be halfway there. We're going to have to use this space and make do. And that's a lot of times a difficult challenge that filmmakers will have, especially on a budget, right?
Oh, yeah.
Making a space work.
I just want to say, you're talking about budgets. I say, you don't need a budget, like getting help in that. But if you want to make a way better quality film that you're trying to get marketed,
Yeah.
the state has grant programs.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know about them. I mean, you can apply for grants to get funding for your film.
Okay.
And it's not, they don't give you $50 or something. I mean, some of these grants are, $30,000 to $50,000.
Oh, wow. And you can do a lot with that.
And that's something else at these group meetings I was talking about that we discuss. So if you're looking for funding, it's out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. That actually sounds like something that people who are interested in film, especially students too, that maybe aren't even aware that they need to be attending those things. Heck, I'd like to go just honestly to meet the people in there. I mean, we have a high level of interest in that as well, especially maybe not so much in the commercial side, but in the Find the Good News side of our creative services. We are doing little road trip documentaries. I found pretty quickly, for me, there's a little film experience for me, I was like, well, I need to use limited resources to do this. I'm going to be interviewing the person out at their location. I don't want to be on camera, but I also need to make sure that it's, looks good. I got out there, and boy, I overloaded that first time. I had too many cameras. I had this bigger idea, and I got out there, and I realized that my anxiety was a part of the whole equation that I hadn't really considered. I was like, okay, my stress level's gone up because now I'm worried about this camera and that camera, and I'm over here, and I had too many things. And then I'm no longer focusing on what really makes the show work, which is me connecting with the person. So that next one I did, I cut all that in half, and I was like, okay, that's awesome. It was better. And then the third one, I honestly shot 90% of it on my phone with that smooth cam. And I realized that that's what for that particular format, that's the best way for me to do it. And I think sometimes I forget that. I go, well, I have all this stuff, I need to use it. And then you go, no, I need to retool my mind as somebody who's going to be shooting films. And maybe filmmakers deal with this every time, is going, I'm overdoing it. I need to just focus on making a better shot. I don't need to focus on hooking this in too many angles, and I'm going to have all these quick cuts. Maybe I just need to focus on the shot. I was listening to a podcast with Vincent D'Onofrio the other day, and he was talking about doing Full Metal Jacket with Kubrick, and he said he was so adamant about not moving the camera, too much. He was like, why move it? Does it make the move? Does it make it better? Does it serve the story? So it made me want to go back and rewatch that movie, and I was like, wow, I never thought of it that way before, but these little things directors decide like that to...
Watch Alien again. The camera hardly ever moves.
Yeah.
Locked down.
Yeah, and so they're like, put all the work right here. Do your job, do it well in front of the camera. And, there's always these styles of directors where you're going, oh, they use these dynamic angles and stuff, but really these good directors that know how to work with actors are saying, no, I've pointed the camera at the scene. We worked hard on the scene. Go do your job really well in front of the scene. And there's no special... There was nothing more to it, but what a fantastic movie it ends up being, because the story is so... The actors are really getting to perform and shine. Do you have a favorite director?
I kind of like Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
He does all of his filming in Austin area. He brought major independent film stuff to Austin.
Yeah.
And, of course, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. What's your favorite Spielberg movie? That's a toughie, huh?
Well, Raiders.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What's your tier of Spielberg movies? Like, if you just go to and pick 3 right now to have the VHS.
I'd say Raiders, E.T., well, I know he didn't direct Back to the Future, but he was a producer of it. If that counts.
Yeah. No, I think he had some fingerprints on it.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Close Encounters is a good one. Jaws,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Jaws.
That's another movie that I like to listen to the commentary on, director's commentary. I learned so much about why that movie looked the way it looked. Mm-hmm. It was how problems create solutions that become better than the thing that you were originally going to do. Mm. You probably have heard that kind of stuff, but he was talking about how, that fear of the shark, and a lot of Jaws, you don't see the shark. And it was because he said he never could get a shark that he was happy with to do the way he wanted to originally film it. So the solution was to film a lot of it where you don't see the shark. It's just the implication of him. And I was like, wow. And it ended up being this terrifying thing. And now to this day, that's sort of how filmmakers approach terror.
I mean, that's actually scarier if you think about it.
It is.
You can't see.
It was new at that time. It was a new direction. So I thought that was kind of cool.
When I was a kid and saw Jaws for the first time, I was scared to even go take a bath.
Me too. You were one of those?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
that
dude,
shark
that's
was
real.
Gonna be in that tub.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm going to tell you a story. Short. I'm bad about going on too long, but look, my mom will attest to this. Our bathtub, I'm terrified of sharks. Same from Jaws. Our bathtub was gray. And do you remember them little, they look like flowers. They were like little skid stickers you could stick everywhere. Well, when they would peel off, they would actually pull the porcelain, like paint off of the tub, and you'd reveal the iron. So in that tub, where one of them flowers had come off, there was a dark circle on the left side at the back of the tub. And on the right side was the dark circle of the drain. And I would get in there, and when it would fill up with water, when I would look down in there, what I saw was like I was looking down on that shark from the top, and those 2 circles were his eyes, those black dots. And I would, not kidding you, I would do the shark dance. I would get in there and I would be jumping up and down, washing up, and jump out of that bathtub, dude. I was so scared.
Fast as you could.
Now, how's that? Now, isn't that insane how a movie could like leave that in you?
Well, you're saying this, and I hope he never hears this, because he would. My grandfather is deathly afraid of birds.
Yeah.
And so I think it was the film that made, literally, he
The birds?
would freak out if yes.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, we go anywhere, there's a dentist office that was in town, and they had all the ducks around there. And so he'd have to go and bring my grandmother, and he would not get out the car.
That's wild,
and
man.
he's really afraid of birds because of the film.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, if you hearing you say that about Jaws, I'm one of those people, man. I went and saw my first 3D movie was Jaws 3D. And I'd never seen one before. And so we're at the movie theater, and there's a scene in Jaws 3D. It's not scary, but there's a frog and sitting on something, and that frog jumps towards you. And I don't like frogs. I think they're pretty, but I don't want them on me. And I was little, and I had one of those big wax cup Cokes at the theater. And I can remember when that frog jumped, I squeezed it, and it was all over me, ice. So to this day, my sisters used to laugh at me because I would get home And I was older, like 17, and after it would rain, there'd be frogs on the front door, and I would just sit there and throw like rocks at the door, like little pebbles, to try to get the frogs off, because I was like, man, I think that's stuck. Again, is another like something about that frog jumping forward left like a fear in me of something's going to get on me. Movies affect us, man. I mean, they do, right? What's one that really affected you, like that really just gets in, that got into?
Well, besides Jaws, you remember? I don't know the name of it, but they had that promo: "If you're home alone, don't answer the phone."
Oh, When a Stranger Calls.
Yeah,
Back.
is that the name of it?
Yeah.
That freaked me out, because
Scary
anytime my
movie.
parents would leave and I was home alone, I just knew there was a stranger hiding in a closet or something.
Have any of y'all seen that movie?
I've not seen that one,
It's a
no.
classic scary movie.
Yeah.
The thing that's a catch of that is, and now people will be like, oh, I've seen it, heard it, but at that time, the character there's somebody tormenting a person in a house in a nutshell, and so the person is getting these calls from the person, and they're answering the phone, and like they're tormenting through the phone. Anyway, they call the police, and back then it's like, we're gonna trace the call, and then the police call them back and say, we've traced the call. It's coming from inside the house. And so the whole movie, you're thinking this person's been outside.
I saw the remake, and I really enjoyed it. So
it's free.
I need to watch the
Remade it?
classic.
Yeah.
I know. What was Scream kind of played on that little
Yeah.
with the phone calls.
It's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, it did. There was something scary about that. I'm with you. That was somebody's watching me. That was something about movies that there's just many, I guess, where I hate being raised on them. They form you a little bit. I mean, morally, I think, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
That happened for me. There are several films where I go, oh, when I watch them today, I go, I can see seeds of who I am in this film. Especially like the old Superman movies with Christopher Reeve. There was a sense of honor about that character that he just felt like a good guy. And that was very important to me, like that be like, oh, I want that person to be real. I wish this character were really in our world. Somebody good like this, that just wants to help people.
See, you all base it on the film junkies really look at it from that perspective. For me, my favorite experience is sitting in a theater and watching. I love trailers, but the voiceover part. And I've told you that was always a dream of mine. And so doing voiceovers, when you think about how they deliver it and the big voices and that's what pulled me into film, because to me that kind of sets the tone for how this movie's going to impact you. And I've been watching a lot of I don't have cable at home. We watch a lot of DVDs. I don't have internet. I just got internet, but lots of DVDs. And so they'll show the trailers beforehand. And so listening to Don LaFontaine and all these big voices, they voiced, I mean, you name from Terminator to you name the movie. You get to see now, like, I remember that.
Yeah.
And it sticks with you more than you realize. So for me, voiceovers, when you're at the theater, are a big part of the experience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was that movie that came out not too many years ago called In a World. I don't know if y'all saw it, but it was all about the voiceover industry and the girl she was in the voiceover world. That was pretty interesting. How there's this whole another layer to the film world. You don't even really think about it, but it's got the same pettiness sometimes and dynamic with the actors, with the voiceover people, trying to fight for jobs, and thinking their voiceover would have been better. They'd have been a better choice. I love that stuff. It's been a lot of fun talking to you about this. I've enjoyed it, but the joy might be over because we're about to jolt things up, hook up the wires, Tom.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. If you've listened to the show, then you guys know what's coming. This is the Live Wire Challenge.
It's time to play with electricity and grab the live wire. It's live wire. The questions are better, stronger, faster. It's the Live Wire Challenge. Live wire.
Okay, so before we started airing, Tom and I decided that I would go first. If you've listened to the show before, you know that the Live Wire Challenge, these questions are created specifically for the people that we're interviewing today. So you're going to have some choices. You're going to have some decisions to make. You got to make them pretty fast, but don't be afraid. It's going to be good. Man, he's biting his fingernails. Live Wire question number 1. You wake up in an unfamiliar bed with a ringing in your ears that's got you seeing double. Where am I, you think, as you stumble over to the window? It's night, but you barely know it from the spotlights that pass across your window, messing with your focus, adding to the growing migraine in your skull. along with the bullhorn that's blasting out demands in a language you can't understand. Is that Russian? You hear something that passes for fireworks outside your room. And when you crack your door, you see a couple running down the hall. You shut the door and you peep through the view hole just in time to see two figures clad head to toe in black tactical gear, brandishing exotic firearms, having a heated discussion as they chase the frightened couple down the hall. Yep, that's definitely something that sounds like Russian. You lean against the wall to collect your thoughts, but they're scattered quickly by a hard rapping in the door, followed by a voice that wields confidence and authority. Open the door, it's me, Jay. I'm here to get you out. Yep, that's English. Definitely English. But you didn't quite catch that name. I don't know any Jay. You think. You look through the peephole, and with a sigh of relief, you realize who Jay is. You're in good hands. And these baddies are really, really in for it. You open the door. Who is there to rescue you, and why are they the best choice? Is it John McClane, John Wick, Jason Bourne, James Bond, or John Rambo? That's you.
for me?
Yeah, you were in the room, bub. How about you, Bray? You're in the room too.
I'm a big Die Hard fan, so
John McClane.
I'll say Rambo.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd say Rambo. Why is Rambo the best choice to get you out of there?
Because he's going to get it done no matter what.
Yeah.
You can't keep him down for anything.
I'm coming for you.
Murdoch.
Oh my gosh, dude. I'm with you on that. I like all those guys, but
he did a great job writing that, right?
Yeah.
That was well done. We're like
I was
thinking
pulled
it's a
in.
movie.
Is this going to be a question?
yeah. The first question is usually some kind of
Yeah.
big scene to
He's
set the
pitching his
stage.
script to us
Yeah,
right
or
now.
it's pitching the script.
Anybody want to pick this up? Yeah. No, man. So John Rambo. So how did you feel when you first saw Rambo?
Man, that was...
First Blood?
First Blood.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Just loved every bit of it.
Yeah.
It's like a perfect movie.
I agree. I'm with you. You guys like First Blood?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen the new one?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't got to yet, but I'm ready, man. I'm going to go by myself, I think, because I don't think anybody else wants to watch it with me. But I'm ready for that. They said it's like Home Alone.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, they were like, it's like Home Alone, except super violent. And I was like,
Right.
okay. I already was like, I can't wait to see this movie. Yeah, I liked First Blood too, man. My dad, that comes from my dad. He was a Vietnam veteran, and there was something about the way, John was treated in the beginning of that movie that really resonated with my dad, I think. And so he had even Bo's videos in Westlake was called Rambo Video. I mean, of course, Westlake Rams, but he couldn't resist calling it Rambo Video because he's a big Rambo fan. I remember going to see First Blood Part 2 with my dad, and that scene where he comes out of the mud was one of the most epic moments in a movie I've ever seen. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that eyeball opens behind, and I was like, oh, these guys are in trouble. He's right behind them.
You ever see UHF with Weird
Oh
Al?
yeah,
Remember the Rambo scenes in there? Yeah.
that is a great movie.
It is.
UHF. If you're a film buff, have you seen UHF?
I have, yeah.
I mean, that's a good movie, man. You get to kind of poke fun at some of those things that you.
Like when he ties his bandana and blood squirts out.
There was a lot of little movies like that were funny. I thought, like Hot Shots.
Yeah.
I loved Hot Shots,
Yeah.
man. I'd like to go back and watch that. It's been a lot of years.
Men in Tights, that was a good... I was a huge fan of the
Robin Hood Men in Tights,
the
yeah.
Prince of Thieves movie with Kevin Costner. And so when Men in Tights came out, I thought that was a good answer to that film.
For sure. There was a lot of that actually going on. And they think like, what is it, Scary Movie?
Yeah.
You know, those.
The airplane movies, those came out.
I just listened to an interview with the guys from Matthew Lillard, and he said that the original name for Scream was actually called Scary Movie. That's what they were thinking about calling it. But, ultimately the parody became the name.
But then, of course, they actually made Scary Movie.
Yeah, right. They call it Scary Movie. It's poking fun at Scream. So it was kind of neat. I don't know. I liked action movies. I mean, when I was a kid, man, all those action movies, dude. I mean, you name it. Those. Last night, my son and I were laying in bed and went on Cinemax and I watched Commando. Man, I was like, oh yeah, I love Commando. And it's funny because it's been so many years since I'd seen it, but it's like all of it starts coming back in these little key moments, and even lines that as a kid that I thought, God, this is so cheesy. Some of Schwarzenegger's lines
They stay with you. Yeah.
They really do, man. Like that scene in Commando. That's not a Schwarzenegger line, but it was God, whoever the villain was, I can't remember. It was like his ex teammate. But he was one of the baddies with him. He was trying to act tough, and he was like, slitting a little girl's throat is like slitting warm butter. And I was like, dude, this is the dumbest dialogue, man. But as a kid, you love that stuff. It's just so excessive back then. All right, Thom, I think it's time for Live Wire number 2.
Number 2. All right, I don't have the same narrator voice, so I hope this one's not a script. Let's see. You've been given a great gift. You've been chosen to receive all the powers and gifts that come with saying one of these legendary statements from across the landscape of film and television, but choose wisely, because your first choice sets the rule. There can be only one from Highlander, Klaatu Barada Nikto from Army of Darkness, Abra Kadabra from Harry Potter, Shazam from, Shazam, By the Power of Grayskull from He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, or Muad'Dib from Doom.
Shazam!
Oh, that's the one, huh? Why? Why Shazam?
I just loved it, man. Growing up as a kid, not only would I watch the show, but when it was over, I would put on my underoos.
Oh, yeah.
My lightning bolt.
Yeah.
And I would pin a towel, my mom's towel, to my back, and I'd run out in the yard and play Shazam.
That's awesome. We had a similar... I can resonate. That resonates with me, man. Me and my cousins do the same thing. Mm-hmm. That towel with them old safety pins, a little plastic cap. Yeah. Man, we'd do that. We'd play on my grandparents' back porch and jump off the high ledge and, not Shazam, but it was Superman and Aquaman, all that. Yeah, man, Shazam. What about you, Braylin? Any of that resonate with you?
In my own way, yeah.
Yeah?
Not to say the films, but yeah, when I was younger, I did that as well.
What about what would your choice be, though? Would it also be Shazam?
I'm not certain, to be honest.
Yeah? Thom? I know, but I bet.
Oh, it's the He-Man. Yeah, by the power of Grayskull.
Yeah.
Turn into a huge guy, take my clothes off, run around town with a big sword.
Okay, this just got super.
We just learned more about Thom.
Yeah, take my clothes off and run around town with my huge sword,
solving crime.
Okay, that's the standout moment for me so far.
Somebody's gonna quote that part later.
Oh, let's hope so.
Mine was probably
It'll be tough.
When we were writing these, I was like, oddly enough, I think I selfishly stuck the one I want in there, and it's at the end. It was Muad'Dib from Dune. I just thought, even as a kid, like, what a cool concept for a weapon, that the vibration of a word had power, and then the level of the power was based on that word. And I just remember watching Dune, and when they said Muad'Dib, and then all the devices started going off, and I was like, oh, that's so cool, like he's the guy. It was just that moment. It was pretty epic for me. Although it's probably the weakest of the bunch in there. Nobody said Army of Darkness, because nobody wants the power of the Necronomicon. Am I right? Mm-hmm. All right. Live Wire number 3. They say looks can kill, but these famous femme fatales are much more than a pretty face. From the most deadly and dangerous to the least, put these famous Hollywood huntresses in order. Imperator Furiosa, Lilu, Katniss Everdeen, Sarah Connor, The Bride, or Player's Choice. To add your own. It's not on the list.
Go ahead, Braylon.
I'm going to have to pass.
Another pass from Braylon.
Yeah.
Tom's sticking his finger up. You got one?
No, I'm.
You're stumped. You don't know who you think's the most dangerous out of that list?
Most dangerous to least. I mean, The Bride killed a lot of people.
Yeah, she was pretty tough. I did a little bit of a personal face-off when I started doing that. I was like, well, okay, The Bride, but then face her off against... That's where I landed.
She killed robots, yeah.
She did.
She's a survivor. And she's coming back. Robots from the future.
For the future robots.
I mean, for her, if you think about her story arc and her trajectory, you're talking about a waitress who is, if we have it, obviously the new film, she's going to be in it. she's still around kicking, fighting robots, man.
Badass.
Yeah, she's badass. And I mean, look, dude, I'm not even gonna lie. My friends and I went to Charles Cinema, stood in line, waiting for that get tickets to T2 when it came out in the 90s. And God, I gotta tell y'all a funny story about that. So anyway, let me tell you that. So we stood in line, dude. We walked out of that theater. Well, we were not let down because that was kind of like almost a revamping, because it had been so long since Terminator had come out. In your head, back then, it wasn't so common to have like revive something that many years later, you know. So you had Terminator, and then I never thought I was gonna be another Terminator. And then, dude, the special effects were at the cusp of a big change. So you left that theater just going, dang, dude, what did I just see? Did it have that effect on you?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you? T2 was something. I wish that's kind of what I hope for in movies now, is to have that feeling. And when I don't have it, I'm a little disappointed because there's no discovery. It's hard to push the envelope into like new territory, I find, with big cinema stuff.
Yeah, you're right, I believe.
You know, it's like, what are they going to do different, especially with a
There's
franchise?
nothing you can't make nowadays.
Yeah.
Right,
You
right.
know, we were so limited in the 70s, 80s, and that, but now anything you write can be done on film
Yeah.
through special effects.
Yeah, you're right. That's right. Even TV has gotten that way. It's like, wow, they're doing things on TV that was like high cinema. You know, you had to have big bucks.
Very true.
Yeah.
Going back to your first live wire, you mentioned John. Excuse me. You mentioned John Wick,
Yeah.
and I mean that was the feeling I got. The same as when I first saw like Terminator or any of those shows. The first time I watched John Wick, I remember leaving the theater like so pumped up, like that first time you saw The Matrix. I don't know
yeah,
when
that
you
was
saw it,
wild.
but I was in college, and I mean I walked out. We had gone with a bunch of my friends. And we walked out of the film, and we were like, "Who can we fight?" You know, we were like, not really looking for somebody to fight, but it's like you get that feeling of being like, God, you just feel so pumped, you know,
I miss
after
you,
such
Thom.
an experience.
I
And
want
so,
to party with you.
So who can we fight?
who can we fight?
I
Let's
like
find
that.
some people. But no, I
good
got the
stuff.
same feeling from John Wick the first time I watched it, and then when you read about how it was made and all that, and go back and watch it again, and how they used color to tell the story in addition to the sounds and the music that they had picked for it, it's like, man, this is the real deal, you know?
Yeah, right. I agree.
So
I
there's
like
some good
those
stuff
John
coming
Wick
out.
movies. Have you seen all three of them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I haven't finished the third one. I was a little exhausted by the time. So much violence in that.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, and I mean, you know, by the time you get to the third one, it's just real gratuitous violence. And I was like, okay, I'm ready for it this time. But then I got tired, like watching. I was like, I was going, how is this guy still going, man? He's been sewn back up, given these rejuvenation medications, which I want some of that stuff. I'm like, what are they giving him? It's like, well,
Right.
you can go for another 48 hours, but you know, you're going to die if you don't get some serious help. Like, what are they giving John Wick? Speaking of that, though, dude, it gets right back into that story I want to tell about T2 about wanting to fight. Like, some people take movies really seriously.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to take it seriously with your friends, but it's another thing when you're taking it seriously alone. And so me and my buddies were at the T2 movie, and we saw a guy from high school, because the line was long, you know, and we saw a guy from high school that we didn't really know. I couldn't tell you his name, but he did go to school. He's in our grade with us. And we noticed he was wearing like a leather jacket and like sunglasses, and his hair was kind of slicked. And at first we didn't pay it any attention, but then we noticed, like, when he went up to get his popcorn, the way he walked, and he I would like some popcorn, you know, and he would step back, and then he turned like a robot, and he walked into the theater, and we were like, you know, again going, is he acting like the Terminator? So we watched the movie, and then he comes out and he walks out like Schwarzenegger's posture, real stiff. He goes up to the edge of the road. He was parked at Kmart. I remember this very well. He was parked at Kmart across the street. And he walks up to the edge of the road from the Charles Cinema. What is that? Sale Street right there? Mm-hmm. He walks up to Sale Street, stops. He looks to the left. He looks to the right. Which normally you look both ways across the street, but it was the way he did it, dude. And me and my friends were in my truck and we were watching him. We were like, this dude's acting like the Terminator. He's definitely acting like the Terminator. Got in his car. He's by himself.
He's not just acting.
No, he's doing
living
this
this
for
out.
himself completely alone. This is like Thom and his buddies, like, who we gonna go fight? He's talking to himself, going, I'm gonna beat the Terminator. Why not go watch Terminator by myself?
Right.
So we get to school, and I'd never talked to the guy, and so we see him walking by, and we're like, hey man, did you like the Terminator? And I'm not joking you. Do you know what he says? I didn't go see the Terminator. And my buddy Dan goes, yeah, dude, you went and saw the Terminator. Now, we weren't going to say anything about, hey, you were acting like the Terminator. We were just like, hey, did you like the Terminator? But when he said, I didn't go see the Terminator, and we knew he saw it, it was like, that instigated it. And my buddy was like, oh, yeah, you went and saw the Terminator. You remember you was dressed like the Terminator. Remember you walked in there and said all this stuff, and he was like, I didn't go to the Terminator. I don't like the Terminator. Oh, and he walked off, and I swear that memory just burned in my brain. I was like, what an odd occurrence this was. For somebody, I just thought about the psychology a little bit. Like, would I do that? Would I go to a movie by myself and pretend to be the character and just go home? And then when somebody said, hey, did you enjoy it? And go, I have no idea what you're talking about.
That was his private escape.
Dude.
That was it.
It's an odd little story, though. And it stuck with me because we enjoyed that film so much and we had such a good time.
Well, now, if you think about it, that's like a common occurrence.
That's right. Now.
But maybe at that time, he didn't feel comfortable publicly.
He was early cosplay.
Yeah.
He was like OG cosplay. And
right.
He probably owns a huge warehouse somewhere now. And
yeah,
rich.
Or you go to his house and you knock on the door and he opens the door and he goes, Sarah Connor. Maybe he lives his life like a Terminator. That would be actually even better.
That would be awesome.
That would actually be a great short film to follow this person through their life and that little scene right there.
Going to the grocery store.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's good. I like that. What are we on? This is number 4.
This is a good one. Okay, you ready? You get to write and direct a buddy cop movie. You're thrilled to get the job. As always, the Hollywood suits have their own ideas, and here's the catch. The actors playing the comedic cops are to be played by famous cinema robots or cyborgs. Who do you cast as your dynamic duo, and why? All right, so you get to choose 2 of these. You have Wall-E, RoboCop, Chappie, Johnny Five, C-3PO, Bumblebee, the T-1000, the Class M3 Model B9 General Utility Non-Theorizing Control Robot from Lost in Space, Commander Data, and Gur from Invader Zim.
That's a lot of robots.
That's a lot of robots.
I'd take RoboCop and the T-100.
Ooh, that'd be a good pair, actually. Honestly, you've got like this menacing sort of vindictive robot, and then you got the stoic RoboCop, like who's the upstanding,
Yep.
RoboCop's a good movie. What about you, bro?
Direct violation of
who?
what did he say? You're in direct violation of whatever. He rattles off some numbers.
Oh, dude, my favorite thing. I used to say it all the time. My favorite scene in RoboCop was when he, busts through the door. Throw down your weapons, or there's going to be trouble. And I was like, duh, I like RoboCop.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
You're coming with me. God, RoboCop was so good when it came out, man.
What did you think of the remake?
I actually didn't hate it. I like Joel Kinnaman because he was in one of my favorite TV shows, The Killing. I don't know if you've ever seen The Killing. He played a character named Holder in that for a few seasons. Awesome show. It was on AMC, I think. It's a great murder mystery. It's actually one of the few shows that, like, I went, whoa, I just blew my mind. It really did. It was a good story. He's an awesome actor, but when he got to RoboCop, I was like, oh, I like Joel Kinnaman. I felt like it just didn't stretch him. It was a typical popcorn action sci-fi thing, and it didn't push him too far. But I did like it. I didn't think it was bad. What did you think?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean, it was RoboCop.
I prefer the original, yeah.
Me too. Oh, Peter Weller. I like Peter Weller anyway. What a great guy. He's been in so many cool things. But hey, RoboCop actually had some cool special effects for that time period. Mm-hmm. It was way.
Remember the prune face guy that runs out and he hits him and
he splatters. There's so many little sound bites from RoboCop. I'd buy that for $1. All that stuff like that. All these little the world.
They even made
building.
a song with that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you don't remember that?
No, but I do remember the song, the RoboCop.
Dance Till You Drop.
Yeah, that's the song.
And then they plug that in. I'll buy that for $1.
That's right. God, do remember, man. I'm about to find that song. That's kind of funny. RoboCop was pretty gross and violent, man. I was surprised by that. I watched Chappie recently. And the big moose robot reminded me of Ed 209 a little bit. I actually like Chappie. I don't know if y'all have all seen that.
I haven't seen it.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. What was the other movie that was kind of same vein? Was District 9?
Yeah.
I like that too.
That was the same director.
Same director.
Yeah, that was
He's got a particularly lived-in style. Elysium is the one that he did with Matt Damon.
Yeah, saw that one too.
his worlds are pretty, I think, probably on the pessimistic side of where humanity's heading, you know? And I feel like he captures that really well, the overpopulation, environmental stuff going on, and these dealing with AI, you know? How do we feel about it? Chappie's good, though. I enjoyed it.
So I'm going to answer your question. So I'm going to go with Bumblebee and CP3O.
Okay.
But y'all are bringing all these memories. I really do have a horrible memory. It's crazy. There was a movie, Blank Man. I don't know if you ever saw it.
Man.
One of the Wayans brothers was
I
in
love
it.
that movie.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
thought about the
okay.
little robot that he made. His name's J5.
God, I don't even remember that
And so
robot.
it just came back when you said robots and moved like
That
cinema
popped out at you.
Yeah, so that was
That's
crazy.
a great movie. I
Yeah.
love how he'd throw instead of a batarang, he had a boot on a rope.
He
He'd
created
throw the
everything
boot.
himself. Yeah.
Oh, I remember that movie. I only watched it once. I don't have a lot of recall on it, but I do remember watching it. Robots are great. I mean, I fell in love with a few. Like I love Johnny Five from Short Circuit. That was a great childhood movie.
Did that have Ali Sheedy in it? Was that the first?
Ali Sheedy.
I loved her as a kid. That was one of my early crushes or whatever. And then Breakfast Club, she was in that too.
Yeah.
And
We
then,
learned so much about Tom in these interviews.
yeah.
Love Ali.
She did a movie with John Candy later. Do you remember that one?
Oh, what
Can't remember
was
the
it?
title?
I don't remember. The one that I didn't watch until later in life was St. Elmo's Fire, which
I like
Great
liked
movie.
that.
Yeah.
But she's one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, man.
And Johnny Five was
Johnny Five was great. I like the first one better than the second one. That's a lot of the time that's the case. T2 would probably be the one that was top to that, where I went, well, I think it would hit me a better way. That's some good effects. Who was doing that?
Was that ILM involved?
I don't know.
Yeah, I heard the Terminator sound coming from somewhere. Somebody was making it just
Oh.
now. It's a pretty incredible special effect. Nobody picked Gurr from Invader Zim. That was sort of a bonus one in there. Me and my kids love that cartoon, and that's one of the silliest little robots, man. Do y'all watch Invader Zim?
I used to.
That's a funny little show. It's pretty good. It's come back, actually, on Netflix. I was surprised by that, too. All right, well, let's see. We got another Livewire question here. These popular movies and shows were so good that Hollywood thought they needed to be remade. Here we go. Out of these classics, which do you prefer, the original or the remake? Tell us why. Number 1, Carrie. Number 2, Conan the Barbarian. Number 3, The Day the Earth Stood Still. Number 4, Planet of the Apes. And number 5, Fright Night. Number 6, True Grit. How about Carrie?
Man, I always go for the originals.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll watch remakes and I'll enjoy them, but the one I grew up with is the one I love. You know?
Yeah. It just endeared in your heart.
Now, True Grit might be an exception to that list for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think True Grit out of that was... I'm going to say this about the Conan the Barbarian one. I have a more emotional feeling, like you said, towards the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. But when I watched that one with Jason Momoa, I almost didn't want to, because I was like, I ain't going to watch this garbage, you know, and remaking. It's kind of the childhood thing. You're like, don't touch my childhood. But then I watched it, and I thought about the Conan comics that I would read, and I went, actually, it kind of looks more and feels more like the world from the comic books than I felt. That was just me. They got into that a little more, so I thought it was an all right movie. I wouldn't say it was better. Maybe it was more true to the source material, but I think for me, it was still the Arnold Schwarzenegger
What was
stuff.
the movie The Rock made? It was just him, but was it the
He did Walking Tall.
like a Mummy spinoff or something?
Scorpion King.
Was that
King,
it? The
yeah.
effects were horrible, but The Rock in that role reminded me of a Conan.
Yeah. Can we just
Yeah.
talk about The Rock for a second? Because our family loves the freaking
Always.
Rock. Do y'all like The Rock?
I do.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I
He's
mean...
killing it.
He is. I just like the guy. He can sing, he can dance, he's freaking super fit. He's fun to watch. I mean, you can put him in a movie. He's a money-making machine, man.
Let me be honest though, and I'm not one to write people off because I think you never know what someone's potential could be. But who would have thought from WWE
Oh, yeah, man.
this guy would become,
I know.
this mega star,
Right.
I love watching interviews with him, man. I mean, he's smart.
genuine
Dude,
heart, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He worked for that too. It wasn't just like it was an easy ride. I mean, like he talked about wrestling in these parking lots, these little.
Can you smell what the Rock
Oh
is
man,
cooking?
Now he's just a mega star, man. But he kind of freaks me out too, like a little bit. I'm a little scared of him because like his workout videos and stuff that he posts on Instagram, I'm like, oh, he's intense, man. I mean,
I'm gonna tell you what my favorite rock movie is. It's gonna surprise y'all.
I want to know.
It's gonna surprise y'all. I forgot the name of it, but he's the football star. They call him the King.
With the
Tooth
girl,
Fairy.
yeah.
and his daughter.
Fairy.
No, it's not Tooth Fairy.
No?
What?
His daughter bedazzles his football, and
That's not it. It's not Tooth
no,
Fairy.
it's not. It's all about football.
Oh,
I know what you're talking
man, I don't
about.
know what
Yeah.
that is.
And they call him the King, and he loves Elvis. He's got Elvis posters in his mansion.
Man, dude, I don't know what movie that
He
is.
sings Elvis song. It's awesome.
There was a time period where he lost all the muscle mass, and he was kind of doing some films. And I want to say there was one.
The Game Plan.
The game plan.
Okay,
That was
You
a
need
really
to watch.
good
If you
movie.
haven't seen it,
No, I'll have
watch
to
it.
check it out.
Yeah,
I don't
it's a
think I've
great-
ever seen that.
He basically he's this playboy billionaire football player star, you know, and some little girl that's his that he didn't know he had gets dumped in his life,
Yeah.
and he's a playboy. You know what you gonna do with a little kid? So it's
It's
amazing.
really great.
Yeah,
That
it's
sounds
good.
awesome.
Y'all would love it.
I have to check that one out. The one I liked, recently was Skyscraper. I think that's what it's called. Have you seen that?
haven't
That's
seen
a
that.
Oh, yeah.
Die Hard on steroids,
Right.
man. That's what I felt like I was watching modern Die Hard. You know, they're talking about revamping that Die Hard franchise, and I was like, man, I don't.
I just
know.
bought the 5 DVD collection,
yeah?
and I've been watching them, and I'm just like, if they really are,
Yeah, just leave that.
I love Bruce Willis.
Me
Don't do
too.
it. Don't do
They don't need. That's one of those ones where I'm like, don't recap this. That first Die Hard just has an allure to it. It's leave it alone. You don't need to try to recapture.
Okay, is it a Christmas movie?
We were just I was talking to my
Yeah,
friend
yeah,
about
yeah.
that the other day.
I think it's a Christmas movie. I do.
Because
Yeah.
the first two are made.
They're holiday
yeah.
films. That's what I think. Trapped in Airport at Christmas. I mean, and just the whole.
The music.
Yeah. When that scene where he's looking at that wrapping tape and all that stuff, I was like, yeah, this is a Christmas movie. That made it a Christmas movie. Super violent Christmas movie. So, so The Day the Earth Stood Still, what do y'all think about that one? Remake or the original?
Original.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I don't think I've seen the original. All I've seen is the one with Keanu Reeves. I thought it was all right. Planet of the Apes.
Original.
Yeah. I do like those new
Charlton
films,
Heston.
though. That the whole series they've done, I thought they've been pretty good. Now that's some really cool CGI in those films, man. Those apes or orangutans, monkeys, whatever, all the different
Right.
simians, they really pretty awesome. Fright Night, I like the new one, but I like the original. Evil Ed from that just freaked me out when I was a kid. Whew. True Grit, thought that was better than the new one. Honestly, I
Right.
liked it. All right, last live wire question.
And that's me. All right, number 6. Put these Batmen in order from least to favorite. Christian Bale, Adam West, Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck, George Clooney, or Val Kilmer.
I'd say the last 3 on that list. Just go ahead and drop them on the floor.
Ben, George, and Val, just get them out of there.
Just get them out of there.
Who's your number one?
Well, it's hard because Adam West played a completely, instead of the Dark Knight, he's the Bright Knight. Completely different kind of Batman. So
Yeah.
I don't think I can include him in that list. But I love those shows with Adam West.
Yeah.
But out of those, man, it's hard because Michael Keaton, was that 89?
Yeah, man.
It came first, and then you had the Christian Bale series. But Christian Bale was awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say Michael Keaton just because that was my first, Batman film.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that. That's where my number one is.
But
What
the
about-
last 3, you can throw them away. George Clooney single-handedly just took down that franchise.
And it's funny you say that. Like visually, for me, the one that sticks out is Val Kilmer's movie.
really?
I loved the Riddler and how they did all of that. Adam West, I watched a lot of older shows when I was younger, but I loved him, so I have to put him second. And then Christian Bale.
Yeah.
He kind of, for me, he's synonymous with who Batman is.
Yeah. What about you?
I actually would add one to this list. I think Kevin Conroy for me. I watched the
wow.
cartoon as a kid more
Yeah, I
than,
didn't put him on here.
and then the video games. He's a voice in a lot of
Yeah.
those. I don't know what he looks like in person.
Hey,
Never seen
actually,
a photo
dude,
of the guy.
trivia. You know what's coming? I mean, not trivia. It's the new Crisis on Infinite Earths thing that's coming out. He's going to be playing old Bruce Wayne.
Oh, wow,
You're
right
gonna get
on.
to see him, and he'll be Bruce Wayne.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, in my brain, that guy's voice is Batman.
He's good.
As a cartoon character. I
yeah,
mean,
you're right about that.
So
You're talking about Adam West. Man, growing up, I watched those reruns every day after school, and that's another one where I'd pin the towel to my back and go outside and play. And I had this. Do you remember these? They sold it was like a hard plastic.
The
helmet,
bus,
like a cow.
Yeah.
I had that, and I had. Remember the big wheels you'd ride?
Yes.
Had that brake you'd pull up and you'd spin.
And they'd have them like the stickers on them, and color would be whatever. You'd have a Batman.
Yeah, they had one was
one
called the Green Machine. Then they had the big wheels. But, that was my Batmobile, and I'd have that cape on and that helmet, and I'd be going around at my grandma's. I'd play with my brother, but when he would play, I always had to be Robin. I hated that older brother.
Oh, dude,
I had to be Robin.
What the heck?
So I'd rather play by myself. Instead of the Cape Crusaders, I was the Dark Knight. But that just playing that Adam West. But I remember one specific time out with my brother, and we were on the concrete, and we had the little spray nozzle from the hose. And we were playing like it was Mr. Freeze. If you would, if the concrete was wet, that was the
ice.
Frozen part.
Oh wow!
And they were closing in on me. Leaving me a little circle to stand in. I would pretend I was shivering.
Dude.
But I can remember playing those, reenacting some of those episodes.
Sure. Yeah, that's funny about Batman. I wish I had it here. My wife knows what I'm talking about. It's hanging in our closet. There's a little blue silk cape that has red iron-on letters that says Batman. And I remember my mom will still say, she goes, oh yeah, I remember she sewed it, and then she took it to this place and had the letters ironed on, and it's all cracked and stuff now, but that's a treasure to me, man, because there was this little cassette tape that I still wish I had. If I would pay a ridiculous amount of money for it, but it was of my mom and dad. I can hear their voices. They're laying in bed, and it's my little voice, and my dad's like, sing the Batman song for us, and you can hear me jump out of the bed, and then my voice trail off down the hall and get like completely quiet, and then come back, and I'm like, na 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 Batman, and I have that cape on, and he was recording it for whatever reason, and I can hear it, and I wish I had it, man. Like crazy. I would love to have that, dude. That Adam West stuff was sticky, man, when you were a kid, for sure.
I collect that. My whole dining room is all Adam West Batman.
How cool, man.
Yeah, I got the helmet, the utility belt, batarangs, vehicles.
Dude. Your own little bat cave in there. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's legit, man. I believe it. That's cool, man.
He's been over a few times.
Video guest.
Oh yeah, for sure.
A whole
Road
nother
trip.
layer.
Yeah, for real, man. God, dude, all that kind of memorabilia is awesome, dude. Yeah, I mean, when you have treasures like that, it's hard to say. You're right. He's in a different category. For me, I guess it would. I agree with what you said. I didn't think about it that way, but Adam West, you have to put him sort of off to the side for me.
The Bright Knight.
But I would say Michael Keaton for sure, because it was like, oh, they're making an awesome Batman movie. I remember going to see that. But then those Christian Bale, that trilogy, that's an awesome thing. There's so much happening there. The Joker performance, the Heath Ledger, that was awesome. But the one that you would throw out, I actually years later have come to appreciate because it's so bad. I will put that on just to go to sleep sometimes, because I go, wow, what was that, Joel Schumacher? He did blows my mind, because I love The Lost Boys and I loved Falling Down, two great Joel Schumacher movies.
Schumacher's the one that added nipples to the bat.
Yeah, the thing I like about it now is how gaudy it is and corny. I go, man, they're doing these things that Adam West and them would have done, and we went, well, that's Adam West. The skates and
some people look at those movies as sequels to the Adam West series.
It almost felt like that, and so now I watch it with a little tongue in cheek.
Schwarzenegger is Mr. Freeze.
Oh my gosh! And they played right.
Nice to meet you.
I like to say,
chill out, cool party. Well, how did the dinosaurs die? The Ice Age. And it's like, these are the worst Schwarzenegger impersonations, but it's funny. Yeah, that they played into Schwarzenegger's, one-liners from history.
And see, I love Poison Ivy the most. Like, as far as the villains, I love how they did that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, and what's recently I just got through watching Swamp Thing, and they had the Floronic Man, I think, is in it, but it was, I can't remember the actor's name. I like him, but it was John. Oh gosh, he played Lex Luthor's father on Smallville. Can't think of his name, but he was in
the
that.
new Shazam movie. He was the dad.
Yeah, he was the dad.
Villain as his little boy.
Yeah, he sure was.
Did y'all discuss that, the new Shazam? I haven't seen it.
It's good.
But he's from here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Zachary Levi.
Yeah. Is he?
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's from Lake Charles?
Yeah.
I didn't
He
know
had the
that.
Chuck series first, and then I was happy to
I
see
love
him in
Chuck.
a
Chuck was
in
a
big-
great.
Oh, wow.
Did you watch Chuck?
I did.
Great series.
He was another guest on one of my favorite podcasts as well. Boy, he's an interesting guy, man. He's really in tune with himself. He has a lot of good things to say.
He's from Lake Charles. Maybe we can get him in one time.
Get him
you know,
on.
Man,
for
that
the-
would be
for the-
super
for the
cool.
Film festival.
He might do something like that. He seems like he's got that kind of head on his shoulders. That was a lot of fun, but I don't know if this next part's going to be fun. There's a lot of pain and suffering with the lightning round if you're not careful. If you're not grounded. You guys grounded? You ready? These are quick answers. Tom, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
I'm first. You're second. Here we go.
10, 9, 8.
Put on your brain coat. Take shelter. You're entering the lightning round. Don't get zapped.
Ignition.
Okay. Like I said, the lightning round, you just got to make your choices quick. And we can discuss them later if you want, but let's go through it. Number 1, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?
Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka. Okay.
Megaforce or Delta Force?
Megaforce.
Pass. I'm going with Megaforce as well.
yeah.
For sure. Beverly Hills Cop or Kindergarten Cop?
Beverly
That's a
Hills.
hard one, man. I love Eddie Murphy, but Schwarzenegger, man, I don't know.
He's not a tumor.
Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, I said Beverly Hills Cop.
I like that too, man. Oh my gosh, for sure.
All right, 12 Monkeys or 12 Angry Men?
12 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I like them both, but I think
Those
12
other ones are
Monkeys.
just too angry.
Yeah, too angry. It's in the name too. Breakfast Club or Fight Club?
That's a good one.
I say Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club.
Well.
That was tough.
Man, I'm gonna probably say Fight Club. I think
I'm with.
Can't say that.
I've watched
Can't
it
talk
more
about Fight Club,
times.
Tom. Don't you know the rule? I actually think.
I'll pick number 2.
Yeah, I would say like, what would I put on right now if somebody handed me both? I'd probably put Fight Club on, but I do like them both. Okay.
The Fifth Element or The Sixth Sense?
Fifth Element.
Sixth Sense.
Fifth Element.
Fifth Element. Yeah, I had fun watching that movie. I've watched it more times, I think. Rocky 4 or the Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Rocky 4.
Rocky 4.
I'm gonna pick Rocky 4, but I think I've seen Rocky Horror more times.
Really?
Yeah, we watched that quite a bit. So
I'm going to go with Rocky 4. That's just got, man, boy, that was something. I was tired after that movie.
I will break you.
Yeah.
is it my turn?
think so.
Footloose or Dirty Dancing?
Footloose.
Dirty Dancing.
Footloose.
Dirty Dancing. I'm a Swayze boy. I like me some Patrick Swayze, man. Brokeback Mountain or My Side of the Mountain?
I haven't seen either one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know what My Side of the Mountain is.
Oh,
Yeah, what is that one? I'm not sure.
that's the one about the little boy. He's like, I'm leaving, writes his parents a letter, and he says, I'm going out to the wilderness to live off the land, and he befriends has a ferret, and he does algae experiments. He lives in a tree, and he meets a guy who plays the banjo. That was like a classic.
Never seen it.
Oh, man.
Totally
dude.
haven't seen that one.
Well, look, that was a terrible one. So I'm going to have to pick My Side of the Mountain. I've actually never seen Brokeback Mountain.
All right, Taxi Driver or Drive?
Taxi Driver.
Taxi Driver.
Taxi Driver.
You talking to me?
Yeah. I like Drive, though. But I really do like Drive. But Taxi Driver, it's the one that I would say I know the
You
most.
talking to me?
Oh, man, there's some great dialogue in that movie, man. That whole thing about the rain washing away the scum and all that was a great bit. The Last Starfighter or Starsky and Hutch?
Last Starfighter.
Starsky and Hutch.
I think Last Starfighter.
Yeah, I'm going with that, too.
I've been recruited to defend the Star League against Zur. Is it Zur?
Yeah, I mean,
And the
what
Conan
kid
Armada.
didn't want to play a video game and then find out that was the test to make?
The high score is the.
I just read this month that they're working on a sequel.
Yeah, I
You
saw that. Yeah,
Same
man.
cast, yeah.
How cool is that?
That'd be nice.
That's neat. That'd be
And
cool to
I don't know why they
revisit.
didn't already make one. I mean, the end of the movie, they're loading up to go back and rebuild this Star League. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
Why didn't we see that?
yeah. I mean, when that really did hit some nerves as a kid, you're going, so I could just play a video. It kind of made you want to play video games more. Really cool.
There's some good answers in the chat too. I don't know if anybody's following that, but
Oh yeah.
good job, guys. The next one is Clash of the Titans or Titanic.
Clash.
Oh, I'm gonna go with Titanic. It's tough.
I had a really good movie experience watching Titanic, but I think I'd pick Clash of the Titans.
Original or remake?
Oh, the original.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked all the models, like the.
Yeah, was that called stop motion? Yeah. Yeah, I would probably say Titanic as well, but I do have a funny Clash of the Titans story. My son and I, he needs a sleeping buddy. So we always put something on. I try to find things that I'm like halfway interested in. And so one night I was like, I don't really remember if I liked this remake or not. So I put it on. Well, I fell asleep 10 minutes in. Next night rolls around. And I go, I'm going to start Clash of Titans back up. Where was I at? And I fast forward to it and I press play, fall asleep again. So this goes on for like a week, me just like pecking through and falling asleep. I don't even realize that my kid's paying attention, that these days are passing. And so anyway, I go to get in bed and I go, so what you want to watch tonight, buddy? He goes, anything but Clash of the Titans. He said, is that your favorite movie? And I was like, no. So from his perspective, I was falling asleep and he's laying in bed going,
Again?
I was watching, Dad's asleep snoring, and I'm sitting here watching freaking Clash of the Titans for 7 days straight.
He's really nice to not said anything all the time.
Anything but Clash of the Titans. Dad, is that your favorite movie? It was like this desperate tone, you know? Okay. Toxic Avenger or Avengers Infinity War? Braylin's got that look. Toxic Avenger.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's like apples and
Oh,
oranges.
yeah, man.
Yeah. Infinity War, of course. But
Oh,
I love
okay.
me some Toxic Avenger.
it did too. How about you, Tombo?
I'm picking Infinity War as well.
Yeah?
I think. Yeah.
I think that I would say the same thing, just overall quality. But boy, I do too. Some of those trauma films were
Yeah,
were
like
wild.
Kaufman stuff.
Oh man, that Toxie was pretty cool.
Starman or Brother from Another Planet.
Starman.
Pass.
Pass.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass too.
Yeah. Have you seen Starman?
I don't think so. I can't remember if I
That's
have.
Jeff Bridges. Yeah, he was young.
And
Yeah.
Karen Allen from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, that's right. I saw both of these and when I was younger, and I got to say, I like Starman, but I'm going to go with Brother from Another Planet because I remember when I watched it, I felt like it was trying to almost parody Starman a little bit, and it played to some of the things going on in the culture at the time, and it was actually funny to me to see, take that approach. I thought it was pretty cool. All right, Tom.
Red Dawn or Purple Rain.
Red Dawn.
Braylin?
I don't think I've seen either of those either.
Really? You never seen Purple Rain?
I
Or
don't
Red
think so.
Dawn?
I don't think so.
Oh, man. Got to watch both of those movies, but watch the original Red Dawn.
Yeah, I think Red Dawn for me.
Yeah, I like Purple Rain, but I'm going to go Red Dawn, dude. That was one of those. That's one I've watched. Again, my boy Patrick Swayze's in it, so got to go with that. Although I did like Purple Rain. I mean,
Wolverine!
what, dude? There were some scenes in Red Dawn. I mean, I'll go back now and I read reviews of that, to see what people think today. And they don't like it. And I go, really? For me, it touched like so many nerves. I don't know, it left an impression on me. It actually kind of scared me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. The idea of having to run out and live in the hills.
Did it make you come up with a plan?
Yes. Did you too?
Yeah.
I made me think like that. There was movies.
What am I going to do?
That's interesting that you say that, because I've had this conversation with my wife. I said, there are times when I really reflect on the way I am, I can trace those lines right back to movies. I go, this isn't even based in reality. Like, I feel this way because of these films and the way they affected my mind. I even think like morality sometimes my morality comes from that culture of pop culture, movies and films.
Yeah,
it's really interesting.
TV especially, but movies influence me heavily.
Sure. I mean, if you talk to some guys that all grew up watching Mr. Rogers and Adam West and Christopher Reeve's Superman, and you get all these archetypes in there. I tell this to my kids all the time. I said, I could always see who the bad guy was. I even tell people that in serious conversations now. I say, hey man, like, I know what the bad guys look like because I used to watch these shows, and you're being the bad guy. It's not that hard. You're the bad guy in the story. So if you find yourself you can use some of those films as some pretty good compasses, you know?
Indicators, yeah.
Indicators like, hey, that crappy thing you're doing, that's what the bad guys did in this film.
He's talking about people like Mr. Rogers and that. Man, Bill Cosby, growing up, man, he was like super cool, and you know, I hate all that stuff's come out and all that.
Yeah,
I loved him.
When I was a kid, I did too.
And you remember on Fat Albert, they had the Brown Hornet.
Yes,
you remember
dude,
that?
I do remember that.
Oh man, that was some good
Little
stuff.
Brown Hornet. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
God, that's right. I used to watch that all the time. Fat Albert.
And then he always had his commercials with the Jello pudding pops.
Jello pudding. Yeah. God, man, I know. There are things like that when it happens. Whenever an archetype or an icon like that gets tarnished, you just go, man, I don't even know anything anymore. I don't even know anymore. The character, you realize that some of that is a character. You know, like entertainment has that ability to make you think. That happens for me, especially when I go to a Comic-Con or something and like I meet a person for the first time. Like for me, that happened with John Barenthal. I remember when I met John Barenthal, I was like, wow, dude, this guy is easygoing and just super nice. But the characters he had been playing were these hard, like, kind of violent types. And so I expect my stupidity, you know, ignorance. That's the only thing I've seen. I didn't know way to know. Guy's got a totally different demeanor. His posture's different. And that's when I'll go, dang, dude, you're a good actor. Like, you're a really good actor because, like, I hate your guts on this show. But you're, like, one of the coolest people I've ever met. And that's awesome to do sometimes, to meet these actors that are playing these harsh characters, you know?
I can remember in the 80s my parents renting VHS of that Bill Cosby's stand-up.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of it.
Yeah.
But they would invite their friends over and just make an evening out of Bill Cosby. You know,
Yeah.
they'd all sit around and watch it, eat popcorn and stuff.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it.
Yeah, that was something that was fun to do. Just God, that right there, man. Rent movies, go popcorn, go watch some movies with your friends. Such a big part of my life, and I just think it's awesome that y'all are having this film festival this weekend because you're kind of giving people that experience. Because yeah, we can go see big Hollywood stuff anytime, every weekend, you know. But to be able to go get a fresh experience with film like y'all are going to give people, and to give them these extra layers of engagement, I think that's really awesome. For people who are going to listen to some of this and then check out and then want to go find the information on their own, where do they go? What's the best place?
LakeCharlesFilmFestival.com is the website.
Okay.
You can also, on Facebook, we're LC Film Fest.
Okay. And so just to remind people, that is tomorrow night. And what time does that start? Things kick off?
It's 5 to 8. That'll be our opening films, opening ceremonies. Our celebrity guests will be there.
Okay.
And I think at 8:30 we're going to move over to Rick and Jack's.
Okay. For the
And
mixer?
It's just a little mixer.
Yeah.
It's a no-host event. You buy your own food.
Yeah.
The celebrities will be there. And it's going to be very informal.
That's awesome.
You just come up to the celebrities and talk to them, you know, take selfies with them, whatever.
Yeah. And it's a great place
Yeah.
to do it. They got a great atmosphere for that.
Yeah.
I love
And I'm
that.
sure there'll be some live music. They usually have a band every night.
Yeah, that's cool. Get a nice slice of Southwest Louisiana life and meet some people you maybe haven't met before. And then Saturday, can things kick off?
Kicks off at 10 o'clock. We have 3 screening rooms. They'll be scheduled. They're scheduled online. Just, you know, read over the film, see which one interests you. Make your own personal itinerary for the day.
Yeah.
Don't miss at 11 o'clock is the Q&A session with our 2 Shazam actors.
Okay.
So,
Awesome.
And that's in the Henning house.
Henning house. That's right.
Right. Films will be in the films are in both also.
Oh, okay. And Braylin, you're going to be there. What's your role going to be?
I'm the MC. So
Okay. So how does that work? Is between films, like you announce the film, let people know what they're about to see?
particularly when we do the panels, I think more so
Yeah.
there. But yeah, it's always tough. And I'm warning people now, make sure you map it out. Because I'm more of a sit in and listen to them, kind of talk about, I know they're doing the low budget films, but over the years we did the stop animation. Am I saying that correctly?
Right, stop motion.
And so when you watch those things or you get to talk with them and get that one-on-one, to me that's more, you never get that opportunity again. But then the film itself, it's already, you're torn. You're like, which one do I do? Am I going to go sit and watch a film?
Right.
So it's a challenge. So I definitely encourage people to plan out how they want to spend the weekend.
Yeah, definitely make the trip. I'm going to try to get out there. Like I said, I may not be able to go to the whole thing, but I think I want to get out there and at least get a taste of it for sure. And Thom, what do you have going on, man? And I know you have this event, but don't you have some things coming up? There's a cool Sulphur.
Yeah, we have a couple of things. So also this weekend on Saturday, while the film festival is going on in the Brimstone, if you need like a break from all the sitting and just watching a movie, we have our trains that are running this Saturday. They run the first and third Saturday of each month. That's with the Southwest Louisiana O-Gauge Model Railroad Club. They're a group of volunteers. They put together this really awesome big railroad layout. And so they'll be running those on Saturday from 10 to 2. Then, not this Saturday, but next, which is October the 12th, we're doing an event called Blue and Gold Saturday. So that's homecoming weekend for Sulphur High School. And we're encouraging people to come between 8 in the morning to noon. We have a bunch of maps, like old city maps, that I'll have laid out. I've made copies of them so that we can actually write on the maps.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we'll be able to write where our, memories were. So, like, there was a business that sat here. I used to go and buy comics every Saturday morning. Or,
right.
That's where I used to go to church, on this building on the corner, wherever. So we're doing that to kind of add to our, museum's, in quotation marks, inventory. So we'll be able to add to our collective knowledge, because as people get older and pass on, some of these memories are lost, and we might have old photos of a place and not know where it is. Well, these maps will be a resource for locating things in the future. So
that's awesome, man. I mean, somebody grew up in here in this city and rode around on a bicycle all the time.
Yeah.
I love to go to places that don't exist anymore and see what's there now. And
absolutely,
that's one of the words. If I could just get people to key in on the word cultural center, I mean, that's where you guys are really doing some great things. And if you can wrap your arms around that and just give it a big old hug, you're gonna love where you've grown up at even more. I think you guys are doing that. I love that.
Yeah, because one day people our age are gonna grow old and die, and nobody's gonna remember where Bo's Videos was.
That's right.
And somebody's gonna find a mug or find a. I actually have a free movie rental coupon at my house from Bo's Videos.
Yeah.
That my kids are gonna find that and say, "What the heck is this? Like, where was that at?" And the future historians are gonna know, because we'll have put it down on paper somewhere. So
Can I just say this?
Yeah.
One of your investor friends from locally or out there, I always wish the Charles Cinema would have stayed open.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
To me, and I loved it when it was the Dollar Theater at the end. The sticky floors, to me, just I don't know.
Yeah.
But if we could have something that really showed indie film more often, or even like past films, because you really don't get that option.
That's true.
And there's so much new Hollywood, and so much with streaming.
Yeah.
We kind of you have so much new content.
Yeah.
But I'd love to have that option.
It would be
and
cool.
And that's these film festivals I told you I go to all over the country. Many of them are in a vintage theater in some place,
Yeah.
And that's what we're lacking in Lake Charles. They're all gone.
It would be cool to see somebody take an existing property. Many of the guests that come on Find the Good News talk about that, is rejuvenating dead properties with ideas that still honor the location and the building. It'd be cool to see somebody do that with something.
I'd like to remake a vintage style theater with a glass ticket booth.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, it would give you that experience. I mean, this gets back, rewinding all the way to the beginning of the conversation. That those little tactile things that are a part of our memory that sort of disappear as convenience takes over. Those things, just to get a paper ticket, and do it that way, and get the smells and the feels. I think,
if you want to go to a vintage theater and watch a movie, not too far away is Beaumont.
Oh, really?
They have the Jefferson Theater.
Oh, yeah.
It's a pretty awesome experience if you haven't been there.
Yeah, we many years ago, a long time ago. That would be great. Well, this has been a lot of fun, so I would encourage everybody to just get on Facebook. One, you can follow Find the Good News. Just search Find the Good News. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Twitter, but I'm not going to lie and tell you we keep that up to date too often. But you can follow us on those things, and we'll post information about all these events. Or you can go directly to these pages. I think it looks like you guys keep your stuff up to date.
Oh, yeah.
Fairly.
Can I say one last thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I told y'all my favorite movie. What's y'all's?
Oh, favorite movie. Mine's easy. Back to the Future.
Man, that's a hard question. So I think I would say Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and only because I've watched it probably more than any other movie.
This is good to know.
Yeah, that's one that's, I don't know, it has a special place, I guess. It was one of my first, bad rating movies or whatever, as I was growing up or whatever.
The Aviator. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Wow, yeah.
I love Howard Hughes and the Tycoons.
Very cool.
I like that.
Yeah. Leonardo DiCaprio, great actor, I think. I've liked him in just about everything I've seen him in. Blew my mind in Gilbert Grape. What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Yeah, that's fun. I like that. That's a good place to end it. Favorite movies. All right, guys. Well, thank you all for your time. Thank you guys, too, for listening to the show.
I'm helpless, do I show it you the truth?
Thank you for tuning in to Find the Good News Live. If you would like to help me grow the Good News signal, visit patreon.com/findthegoodnews and become a patron. That's patreon.com/findthegoodnews. I sincerely thank each of you for your patronage and for listening to this broadcast.
And I love you.